In the year 962, a Saxon king named Otto was crowned emperor in Rome. That moment is often treated as the beginning of what later generations called the Holy Roman Empire. Otto did not create a brand new country overnight. He built on older ideas: the prestige of ancient Rome, the legacy of Charlemagne, and the belief that Christian rulers could defend the church and bring order to a fragmented Europe. But Otto's coronation mattered because it tied a powerful ruler from the eastern Frankish realm, what we now call the German lands, to the title of emperor, and it made Italy and the city of Rome part of the story. From the start, this empire was not a single unified nation-state. It was a patchwork of regions, bishops, dukes, and cities, linked by loyalty, law, and tradition, often more than by direct control. Otto's strength came from a careful balance. He relied on noble families, but he also used the church to counter them. He supported bishops and abbots, gave them lands and authority, and in return expected loyalty. Unlike many nobles, senior church leaders usually could not pass their offices to children, so a king could treat them as dependable allies. This approach, often described as an imperial church system, helped early rulers hold their realm together. Otto also intervened in Italy, where rival powers competed for influence. By traveling south, defeating opponents, and supporting the papacy when it aligned with his goals, Otto made the imperial title more than a symbol. Yet this also created a lasting challenge. Later emperors would often feel compelled to go to Italy, and many Italians would resist outside control. After Otto, the imperial title stayed in his wider family line for a time, and the empire's political center remained in the German lands. Over the late 10th and early 11th centuries, emperors acted as top judges, war leaders, and mediators among powerful regional rulers. But their authority depended heavily on personal ability and on building coalitions. There was no permanent capital, and the emperor traveled constantly, holding assemblies, issuing charters, and negotiating with local elites. On a map, the empire looked huge, stretching across much of Central Europe and reaching into northern Italy. In practice, it was held together by relationships, oaths, favors, church appointments, and the expectation that an emperor should uphold peace and justice. In the early 11th century, a new ruling house rose: the Salian dynasty. The most famous Salian emperor was Henry IV. His reign revealed both the empire's reach and its vulnerabilities. Henry inherited the kingship as a child and spent years fighting to assert authority over rebellious nobles. He also clashed with the papacy in a conflict that transformed medieval politics: the investiture controversy. At the center was a question that sounds technical, but was explosive in practice. Who had the right to appoint bishops, the emperor, or the pope? Bishops controlled lands and resources. Appointing them meant influencing power. Reform-minded popes argued that the church must be independent of lay rulers. Emperors argued that they had long played a role in selecting and installing church leaders within their realm. The conflict reached a dramatic peak when Pope Gregory VII excommunicated Henry IV. Excommunication was not just a religious penalty, it had political consequences because it could weaken a ruler's legitimacy and encourage rivals. In the winter of the year 1077, Henry crossed the Alps and met the Pope at Canossa, where he sought absolution. Later stories describe Henry standing in the snow, but the key point is political. Henry needed to break the alliance between the Pope and his enemies in the German lands. The episode became a symbol of the struggle between imperial and papal authority. The conflict did not end at Canossa. It continued for decades, including civil war in the empire, rival kings, and repeated clashes over control of Italy. By the early 12th century, the conflict moved toward compromise. In the year 1122, the Concordat of Worms set terms for the appointment of bishops. The agreement drew a clearer line between spiritual authority and secular authority in the ritual of appointment, but it did not erase competition. The emperor still played an important role, especially in granting the lands and rights that came with church offices. The deeper outcome was that Europe's political world was changing. Popes were becoming more assertive. Kings and princes were strengthening their own local power bases. In the empire, this meant the emperor's authority could look impressive in ceremonies and titles, but it faced strong limits on the ground. In the mid-12th century, the empire entered one of its most famous eras under the Hohenstaufen dynasty, beginning with Conrad III and then Frederick the First, later called Frederick Barbarossa. Barbarossa became king in the year 1152 and was crowned emperor in the year 1155. He worked to restore imperial prestige, especially in Italy. Northern Italian cities were growing rich through trade and developing strong communal governments. Barbarossa wanted them to recognize imperial authority, meet obligations claimed by the empire, and accept imperial judges. The cities resisted. This struggle produced years of war, alliances, and shifting loyalties. Barbarossa could win battles and capture cities, but keeping lasting control in Italy was far harder. The Italian resistance eventually organized into a coalition known as the Lombard League. In the year 1176, Barbarossa's forces suffered a major defeat at the Battle of Legnano. The outcome pushed both sides toward negotiation. In the year 1183, the Peace of Constance recognized the Italian city's rights to self-government while still keeping a formal link to the emperor. While Barbarossa fought in Italy, the wider world of medieval Europe was also shaped by crusading movements. Barbarossa joined the Third Crusade and died in the year 1190 while traveling east. His death did not end the Hohenstaufen story. His son, Henry VI, expanded the dynasty's influence through marriage. Henry married Constance of Sicily, linking the imperial dynasty to the wealthy Kingdom of Sicily in southern Italy. This created a new problem. If one ruler controlled both the German kingdom and Sicily, the papacy feared being surrounded. That fear would influence politics for generations, especially when Henry's son, Frederick the Second, inherited both legacies. Frederick the Second became king in the German lands as a child and was crowned emperor in the year 1220. He grew up in Sicily and was known for his learning and for a highly organized style of rule there. In the German lands, however, he faced a different reality. To secure support, he confirmed and expanded princely privileges in ways that strengthened local independence. Frederick spent much of his reign focused on Italy and Sicily, where he tried to build a strong, centralized monarchy. The papacy, worried about his power, came into repeated conflict with him. He was excommunicated more than once, and political warfare between emperor and pope became a defining feature of his era. Frederick II's reign shows the empire at its most ambitious and most strained. He negotiated, fought, and maneuvered across a wide political landscape. Princes in the German lands, Italian cities, the papacy, and neighboring kingdoms. Even when he achieved victories, the structure of the empire remained complex. There was no single imperial army controlled permanently from a central government. Instead, the emperor depended on the cooperation of princes and church leaders. Over time, the agreements made to secure support helped the princes grow stronger. That meant that after a powerful emperor died, the system could quickly slide into dispute over succession. After Frederick the Second died in the year 1250, the empire entered a period of instability often called the Great Interregnum. Rival claimants competed for the throne, and central authority weakened. By the year 1254, Frederick's son Conrad IV was dead, and the Hohenstaufen line was fading. For many regions within the empire, local rulers, dukes, bishops, and rising cities became more independent in practice. Yet the idea of the empire did not disappear. The imperial title remained a prize, and the institutions and traditions endured. What emerged from these centuries was not a modern nation-state, but a durable political order, an empire defined by negotiation, layered authority, and a powerful claim to legitimacy rooted in Rome, Christianity, and medieval law.